Welcome back to the Birds of Prey podcast. I'm your host today, Karma Gentry, and with me I have
Alea Gentry
and Olivia Colby.
And today we are interviewing Mr. Conrad.
Hello.
So our video today is about the sports and events that have just ended as well as what's about to begin. But we have more questions that are directed towards what Mr. Conrad is specializing in, which I believe is the flight crew. What exactly is that?
Well, I can tell you, it wasn't my initial vision. Mr. Emerson had this great idea not too long ago to create a club that students could be a part of that would help. We have our student sections at all of our events, right, where the kids come to watch the games. But oftentimes it seems like it's a little bit unorganized, or there's a theme, and one group comes up with a theme, and then another group wants to have a different theme. And so in order to bring that together, his vision was to have a student club where students would sort of come together in advance, make a plan for these events, make sure that we have students at all events, and really have a really organized a group, whether it was with posters and signs in the crowd, or working with cheerleaders to have the chants figured out and the cheers, but just to organize it so that we really have an event, or when we have an event, the students are there to support whoever they're there to watch, right? So it's like Falcons supporting Falcons, and just having an organized system where the crowd can like come and watch, and then they're like, oh my gosh, look at the flight crew, they're awesome, kind of make it a really big deal, kind of fun.
Makes us seem more united and supportive of everyone.
Yeah.
We've already had this, we've had the flight crew at a couple of games already, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's still in the process, like in its kind of baby steps of getting organized. I know originally when Ryan put out a call for students to come join the flight crew, the original list I think had right away 30 students signed up, wanted to be a part of it. And so now they're still in the process of setting up that, getting some meetings going, getting some really the details laid out so students know what to expect, and start to build that core team of students that can be setting up the activities and bringing kids together.
Yeah, that's good. It's student-led, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I always thought it was like the coaches that kind of put the themes together.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's interesting. Would you say there were any highlights from the flight crew, or anything you did that really stood out, or
any notable moments, really?
Yeah.
I just think it's been too early. I know that we have great student sections already. And so when the kids are there and they're focused and they're actually paying attention to whatever the activity is, right? That's always a high point. And that's what we want to see. We want kids to come and be engaged and be present with whatever the activity is. And so I know there's been some really good growth in that. But it's still, for flight crew, it's still kind of in the early stages. I still think there's a lot of questions. It's kind of important, I think, that you guys are doing this, because I feel like there's a lot of questions from students about what it is and what does it mean and how can I be involved, and if I come to a game and I'm not technically in the flight crew, can I sit in the student section, which of course is yes.
Okay.
Since it's so new, people can still join, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So how would one go about doing that?
Well, they want to pay attention to any morning announcements or any of the promos that come up on the TVs in the Commons for meeting times and things like that. And I think it's important to know too that just because you don't attend a meeting, you can still show up at a game and be part of the flight crew. The flight crew itself is mainly that core group of students that helps organize it. But anyone can show up at an event and be a part of it.
Okay, there's no forms you have to fill out. You just kind of arrive?
Not right. Yeah, right now it's just show up.
Okay, so really anyone can be a part of it. There's no excuse not to be.
Yeah.
100%.
It sounds really fun, too.
Yeah, 100%.
Just going and cheering on people. We do that already.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that and the goal would be to expand out from athletics and, maybe the theater production that's happening. There's a student crew that goes and makes sure they're there to support, our Falcons that are involved in theater, or the band concert or orchestra, and things like that too.
I'm sure that really helps boost their feeling.
Yeah,
of,
it makes everybody like feel more appreciated with all that time that
Yeah.
they practice and everything. That must be very nice.
and that good sense of community. Like,
Yeah.
we are a family, and that's something that I know Mr. Hart has definitely been pushing for ever since the school started. Is we want to build that safe community where everyone feels connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's really great. Are there any questions that either of you guys have?
No.
Okay. And if anyone listening does have any more questions, they can always go to Mr. Conrad and ask, or I'm sure advisory teachers probably know a little bit. They'll probably just direct you to go to Mr. Conrad, but that's
and
great.
Then there's Mr. Emerson too.
Yeah.
He was the one who put it together.
Yeah, he's sort of the. I think if you had to put like a person that's sort of oversees the whole thing, it's him. It's kind of like his. Although we're all involved, it was like his idea, and he's kind of going to be the go-to adult for like helping Ryan and Lily sort of help to organize it, and then I'm just there as a support.
All right.
So.
Okay. And are there any other notes that you would like to make that maybe we didn't ask you about, so you didn't get to say it?
I just want to go back and bring up the fact that it's that anybody can do it, and you don't have to like commit to the club meetings or anything like that, unless you really want to be in the planning part of it, like really the core team, so to speak. But you can just show up in an event and go sit in the student section and be a part of the flight crew.
Okay. And if they make any themes, I would assume that's announced on the school Instagram.
That's we'll have it on the socials. We'll have it on the TVs.
Okay.
That's kind of the long-term goal is as we start building this to make it really easy for students to access so they know what to do when they show up.
That's great, especially since more indoor sports, more people can probably make it if there's not. We don't have to worry about the weather being
Right.
an impact and
Yeah.
not wanting or making people not want to come. So that's good. You guys are continuing throughout. Are there any sports that you focus on, or if there's two playing out one time, do they divide and conquer? Or
That's a good question. I don't know if we've had to bridge that gap yet, or had that question come up yet. But I could see once the club is up and running really well, I could see there being some like, who's going to go to the wrestling match, who's going to go to basketball, and then do they go just to home games or away games? Of course, that gets tricky when students can't drive,
yeah,
and things like that. But maybe there's options to set up a bus that can take a group of kids up to support the Falcons in their wherever they are.
that's something that would be really good to build up to. I
I
think.
know, right? That'd be awesome if we could get like just a big team of Falcons going to every game to support like their school. That'd
Yeah.
be really nice.
Because I feel like that's when teams are most vulnerable is when they're at an away game, because this isn't where they were built up. This isn't where they grew.
Especially like the further away games. Like I know they had to travel like hours away. I think it'd be really nice if some people showed up and was like there, because it really just boosts everybody's spirits and it motivates the team.
I think I think that would be so cool. I know other high schools that do that, and it's just great when they show up and there's a bus full of kids sitting in the crowd. It might even be a small number, but at least they've got somebody there to support them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good. Just those couple of signs that you need to see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've got to move on to our next interview, wrap this up, because we're pretty close to our mark. No other comments or questions?
No.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about it and just letting the people know that they can always join and ask questions and be a part of it.
Of course. Thank you for coming and letting us interview you and question you a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to get the word out. I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys are thinking the same way, you and Mr. Emerson and anyone in the flight crew. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
And welcome to the second segment of Birds of Prey podcast. Today, I am still your host, Karma Gentry, and I am now joined with
Delia.
Anne.
Izzy.
And we are now interviewing a new person, which is,
Ryan Sutter.
and we are going to continue talking about the flight crew from the perspective of a student. As I recall, you are the spirit coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's for all grades, right? You're not a grade
Yeah,
specific?
yeah, that's ASB covered.
Great. And you are a member of flight crew, I would assume.
Yeah, yes.
Was that part of the deal, or is that just something you wanted to?
Definitely when I was elected, it wasn't an idea yet, but so it's definitely come into play this year only. So it's just kind of been a thought this year. So we're kind of starting through it this year.
And what has Flight Crew been so far? Like, what have you guys been doing with that?
So far, just kind of establishing things and making sure that it's like something that everyone wants to do. So definitely haven't really come to games yet and really established ourselves there. So we're kind of just running through ideas with people and seeing what they want to do as Flight Crew.
So, like, would that include asking if they want to do signs or?
Yeah, different stuff. Like we want T-shirts, like banners, all this stuff, like different cheers that we can do that we come up with. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do that other people might not want to. So we're going to see what best works for everyone else.
How are you guys going about working with like transport for different people for the games?
That's definitely a thought. We haven't really thought about that yet. I guess that if people who are coming out to the games anyways, if they can find a ride somehow, they'll kind of do their own thing. But if we can't, then we're going to probably have to think about that.
Yeah, and I think in our interview with Mr. Conrad, he said that further down the line, you guys could work on getting a bus for everyone, but that does seem a bit far off since this is such a new thing being created.
Right.
Do you have any tips for people who might want to get involved in the flight crew but might have like anxiety or not know what's up with it?
Definitely just kind of jump in. Like, I definitely was a bit nervous, like, running for ASB or anything. But once I did and once I started to, definitely all the anxiety just kind of, like, went away. So it was kind of nice. So it's just definitely you got to, like, jump in the deep water. And even though it's scary, you got to, like, kind of get out of your comfort zone and do what kind of scares you, and that's where you're going to find most growth.
How would people go about actually joining the flight crew?
Oh, easy. Like, you either come up to me or my co-spirit coordinator, Lily Pesnell, or Grady Emerson. They'll get you on the list, or I'll get you on the list. It's pretty easy.
Do you have to be on a specific list, or can you just show up to any meeting? Or
You can easily just show up, and you don't have to, like, be signed up to come to the meetings. Like, if you want to kind of see what Flight Crew's all about, you can come check out the meetings and see how it is.
Okay. And how do you think the experience being on Flight Crew so far has been?
Our first meeting was a solid 5 people, so nobody really showed up this time. But I'm hoping next meeting we're gonna be able to like announce it better, because I kind of forgot to announce when the meeting was until like the day before. So this time will be much better, and people will be able to hopefully actually show up.
How many meetings have you guys had?
One.
Just one?
Just one.
Oh.
That's all it's been.
Are they going to be like set time in the week, or are you guys just announcing them as they go?
Yeah, we're gonna do probably every other Thursday, I believe, just because Thursdays have early start, or late start, so it'll be easier for people to get a ride because it's a longer time.
Would it be after school that you would be having these?
Mostly before school.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just because after school, there's so many clubs already.
Yeah, that's the problem.
This is definitely fun because you can go to games, which are normally after all of those clubs. You just hang behind. I know someone on our cast, Alexis, he will stay at the school pretty late despite not being in any of the sports or band or anything. He just sits around. So it definitely would give him something to do if he would join Flight Crew.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's kind of a growing club. Do you have any like ideas or ambitions for what you think the club should be or could be in like future years or by the end of this year?
Definitely, it's I want not just the student section to like be the what's going on. You want like the parents who are coming to watch their kids. Like you come to the games and you're also like, oh, that's the Flight Crew. Like they're special. So we definitely want to carry out this big name, carry out this big ambition that we have. But yeah, just creating cheers and stuff and just creating just a good environment for all the students and all the players that are playing to just feel appreciated.
And is this like all grades?
Oh yeah, all grades
Anyone
are available
can
to join.
Okay.
And for like chants and cheers, I've heard you guys mention, would you teach the students how to do that before like every game when they are already in the section, or will you guys upload to the Instagram and just show how to do that in case someone does just join like right in the middle of it?
Yeah, I think we'll do like a Flight Crew Instagram at some point just to get like cheers going, invitations and announcements and stuff. So we can teach cheers and stuff because that's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, that would definitely be helpful. And I think, does anyone have any more questions for you?
No, not really.
Is there anything that you wanted to share that we might not have asked you about already?
Yeah, join Flight Crew. It's going to be fun. It's definitely not something big right now, but we want it to be. So the bigger the group, the better it's going to be.
Yeah. Why did you decide to join Flight Crew? Like, was it something internal that you just wanted to be a part of something, or you wanted to help build the community around you, or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. So Mr. Emerson kind of approached me and was like, we want something different from other schools, because like we don't want to be like copy and paste of every other school. We want to be a bit different. So like kind of establishing our student section and making it the best it can be is definitely something that we want to strive for.
Yeah, that's great. We do have a little extra time, so I think we could do something fun and maybe go through a couple pod decks. We have a few that we could do, and it would be fun with the guests because these are all new to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope so anyway. We have the episode deck, what the heck, and interview deck, and would you rather.
We should do the interview deck.
Interview deck, because we're doing an interview.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
I haven't seen these either, so
I think
It's been a while since we've
I
used
know.
them.
It has been, and I don't
We
know.
didn't really use them much last time because we didn't have enough time.
Yeah, and a couple of them aren't too great. We did the would you rather normally, though. It's
Yes.
fine. So, let's see. Delia, I'll start with you. What's left on your bucket list?
ooh. Probably finishing the webcomic that I started like a year or two ago.
Is this just a personal one, or do you have it uploaded on something?
I'm working on getting it uploaded on Webtoon, Tumblr, and Instagram, but I have all the current ones posted in a personal Discord server.
Oh, fun.
Cool.
And then Ryan, if you were to die tomorrow, what little thing would you regret not doing? That one's deep.
That is deep.
That one's like 0 to
It just-
100.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, what's left on your bucket list? If you died tomorrow, what would you do?
Yeah. What would you regret not doing?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Jeez, Izzy, get it right.
I don't think there's
Sorry,
anything I
Papa.
really regret, but definitely want to finish high school. It's kind of a goal. So if I die before I can't finish high school, that's going to be kind of a bummer.
Just regretting the timing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Why would you choose such an early time?
Mm-hmm.
And then Izzy, when you think about success, who comes to mind and why?
I don't know if there's any like real specific person for me. I guess particularly it's just like someone who's actually like happy with what they're doing, I guess, would be general statement.
Yeah. Just thinking about success in general, I think this school has been super successful in the couple years it
Mhm.
started. Because I know there's already so much going on. There's so many things being established. And I'd say we're doing pretty well with it. We're not too stressed, I would hope.
Yeah, like today we had our first ever choir performance.
Yeah.
Super cool.
That was
Assembly.
exciting. I didn't even know we had a choir.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
They started this year because we just got like the teacher for it.
That's a course class, right? Not a club.
Yes, it is a course class. It's the teacher teaches both choir and theater, I'm pretty sure.
So we actually have a theater.
We have a theater class, yes.
Wow. So signing up for courses next year to anyone who's not a senior, that I know I'm targeting a couple people in the room, but
Me.
yeah. But hey, that's okay. You guys will get to choose other courses of just life in general. Does that scare you guys at all?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm already in running start, so I'm already taking college courses with like in real college situations. So
You're prepared.
great transitional tool, and it's kind of like the jumping in the deep water. That's just kind of everybody's got to do that, so it's not too intimidating to me.
Right.
And we can make that the theme of our podcast is just don't be afraid to just jump right in and start something new.
All right.
And I think that should wrap up our talk today. We will go back to talking about more sports and other things going on, such as the band and dance, keeping up with that kind of stuff in the next little section. Thank you so much for letting us interview you
Of
and
course.
coming here today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And welcome to the third and final segment of this podcast, where we are going to be talking about more sports and band stuff rather than the support team, which is what we were just talking about. Yeah,
Flight Crew.
Yeah, the flight crew. Y'all saw it.
Good job, Karma.
I'm your host still. You're stuck with me. I'm Karma, and I am joined again by
Alea Gentry.
Olivia Colvey.
And Izzy Mega.
And I believe they have all done their own research. They've interviewed a couple people, got some quotes for y'all. So we'll get right into that for whoever wants to share some questions they asked first.
So we asked a couple people of questions, and I got a quote from the drum major, and one of the questions was how they think the season went, and he said, absolutely stupendous, couldn't have gone any better. And
Stupendous. I like that word.
yeah,
I love
right?
big
It's
words.
very,
Stupendous.
yeah.
It reminds me of Coraline. I don't know why, but
Oh,
It makes me want to say stupendalicious.
oh, okay.
okay. You do you.
We also asked, like, who would you recognize from the season? And he said the whole band, because it's hard to single out one single person when everyone is doing so well and everyone brings everybody up. But then another thing is, like, just like mentioned a little bit, the play is going to be coming up. The play called You Can't Take It With You on November.
November.
It's
Let's
a
add that
November.
second O in there.
On November 17th, 18th, and 19th at 7, and one showing at 2 p.m. on the 19th. Go get your tickets now.
Are any of you guys planning on going?
I want to go to at least one of our
I'm
plays. I really
going.
want to see how, because I mean, a lot of people have been putting in a lot of effort, and I want to see
Oh.
how, like,
They
it
for
ends.
sure are. I'm going, I think, to the final night is what I'm planning on because I got my ticket. So
I feel like you're going to see a lot of crying people.
no,
Yeah.
you definitely are because I mean, just like drawing from experience of the musical last year,
Yeah.
it's so hard to like end a production.
Yeah.
I went to the first and last one, and let me tell you, it was magical entering and leaving that play because you could tell they really were connected to the characters.
Yes.
They were connected to each other, and I think a lot of those cast members are returning. So it's gonna be
They
it's
are.
gonna be so fun to see that again. I'm definitely hoping to go. I think last year I went, or like I said, on the first and second night. I would love to do that again, but my wallet would not like that. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
How
I
about
think-
you, Olivia? Are you thinking?
Yeah, I was gonna go because I've actually never seen a play before at like a high school or anything, so I was like super excited for that.
Well, you're a freshman, right?
Yeah.
That explains it.
I don't know, because 7th and 8th graders really like acting like high schoolers and going to games.
Yeah.
It's because we're so cool.
Yeah.
For
I
real.
We're
agree.
rad.
The thing is, I only really go to them for like when I have to be there for band, except or extra credit. So I can't say much.
It's not a choice.
It's not a choice. Did you have some quotes?
Okay, so we interviewed the head football coach, David Myers. We asked him how he thinks the season went. He says, and I quote, "Our season just wrapped up with a pretty big win against Pasco, which has us finish on a 3-game win streak. So I think that was a really good, positive way to end the season." And we asked if he would like to recognize anyone from the season, and he said, "It's hard to pick one. They all improved so dramatically."
And you can see that through the games because we went from having won no games to ending off on that 3-win
Yeah.
streak. Like, we were like, we are going to finish strong. We didn't start out there, but hey, watch us grow. And that is something you're supposed to do with
Yeah.
everything is watch people grow.
I think it's like definitely because it also correlates to like if you saw like bringing back to like marching band this season and last season, like we still like we won our first competition last year in marching band, but like the other couple we got like I think second and third and so, but this year we came out with like a fully like every competition we won
With a winning streak.
Yeah, it was winning streaks, and it was really cool to get to see that, but it also because it was our first year having seniors, and same thing for like football and all the other sports this year.
I was really impressed by our band and our color guard.
Yes.
They did amazing. It
They
was
were
beautiful.
stunning.
That was so cool.
It was so cool to see at like the football games, halftime. That was my favorite part. Only reason I went. I'm kidding.
Even just today at the Veterans Day Assembly, which was our first assembly in the gym of this school
Yes.
year, and the band sounded gorgeous. I was moved.
I know.
honestly.
It was very beautiful.
It was
Yeah.
stupendously amazing.
Bring back that word.
Really, yeah. And we also actually had our first band concert like 2 nights ago on the 8th, and it had like the middle schoolers and the freshman band as well, while this one only had like the older band.
Yeah.
And it went really well. Like, it was really cool to have that, and just, like, performing it for the school was nice.
Yeah, they seem very put together.
They really do. They
Yes.
seem like they actually seem like a good community. Like, they seem like they know each other, and they're like, oh, they're going to do this. Let's do this.
Well,
like,
you
they're
just-
all put together. And,
Yeah.
like,
Just talking to any of the band kids, you can talk to any of them about it, and they'll explain that. They'll explain how even parents of the students have stepped up. You've got those band moms that are driving too many kids to fit in that car. And you've got all these people supporting our band, which is, it really tells you something.
Yeah.
Going back to football, I was like really impressed how much they did improve in the first year. Like looking at that CV game, our first game, and then coming back and seeing our last game, really improved.
Yeah.
It was amazing, actually. We also talked to the freshman coach. His name is Mr. Mazzola, and we asked him how he thinks their season went. He says that it was like tough at times, and he hopes that their team learns a lot from their experiences, and he says that our team really has potential, so I can't wait to see like how we do moving on, and hope to see like that improvement too as we're going on along with the year and seeing Ridgeline grow.
Are coaches like the counselors where they follow that grade, or do they just stay like strictly freshman?
I think they just stay with that grade, or not. Yeah, stick with a grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
So,
grade,
like,
not
freshman
the
stays
yeah.
freshman.
Yeah, because there's freshmen and then there's JV and varsity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a yeah.
So then they would have to kind of stick with that.
Is
And,
it like that with every sport?
I think so.
yes.
Okay. And then
We also interviewed the special team football coach, which is just like the people that are on the field at the beginning and stuff. And he said, which is Brett Rogers, and he said,
Raj.
We love you, Raj.
he said, and I quote, "I thought the season went really well. Couple things come to mind. Like every week when we watched footage, we were improving, and so like when we began Lakeland versus CV, where we ended up two entirely different places, the more of the boys stayed up, and I think that's a super good thing that the boys kept their heads up when it became difficult, because we did have a lot of difficult times.
yeah, there were a lot of tough times throughout the season.
Well,
Yeah.
like, also just, like, mentioning in there, like, it wasn't only all of the boys, because, like, they have managers on every sport that help
Yeah.
out a lot. Like, stay after school.
You can see them running
Yeah.
out on the field, like getting
Like,
them water bottles
yeah.
out, and it's just like, whoa.
That's a workout in itself.
It really
real.
is.
Yeah. He also said for like we asked what groups or who he would recognize from the season, and he genuinely just said the special teams, because I'm the special teams coordinator. But all the groups, the offense and defense and the special teams, all played hard and got really good. The kind of neat thing about our team is it was a team effort. Everybody was filling a whole bunch of different roles. It was very next person up kind of situation. Like if somebody was injured, they filled in right away. So it seemed like they had the team put together really well, and it wasn't like they didn't have a ton of like.
They had a plan and a backup plan and a
Yeah.
backup plan for the
There we
backup
go.
plan.
Yeah.
They had plan A, plan B, plan Z, you know?
Yeah, they had it together.
And that's something that's really important, because that doesn't always go how it's supposed to, or at what you would expect. There's not really much you can expect going into something like that,
Yeah, it's
especially
kinda,
with such a fresh team and new people, and they've got to build up that bond, because I know teams work best if they actually have connections with everyone, and I'm really excited to see where they go once they have connected much more.
Yeah, like if you were to see like a team of strangers doing something versus a team of people who can get along, work together, and like apply teamwork to things, then it would be a very drastic difference. I can't words.
Are you trying to say Jurassic or drastic?
Drastic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jurassic World!
it's a very drastic difference between that.
Do you see
because-
where I am?
Yeah.
yeah, Jurassic.
You say like Durastic. Yeah, it's okay. We're picking on you today.
Okay, going into our next sport, we interviewed Coach Lentz. She's our cheerleading coach. The winter season just ended for the cheerleaders, and when we asked her how it went, she says our fall season went very well. The cheerleaders hit their homecoming routine twice at the assembly and at the game, and they cheered really hard every home volleyball game and every football game, and they are just an excellent, very professional, amazingly talented squad. When we asked if she would like to recognize anybody, she said she'd like to recognize all the seniors from football squad: Haley Hale, Leah Spence, Julian Persicki, Kennedy Spind, and Julia F. as a standout group of senior leaders. I know that those routines look very like challenging, like they're throwing someone up and then trying to catch them. That seems like a big challenge, like actually catching that person that's falling at you.
That takes a lot of strength, and it's truly impressive, and that is it's truly remarkable how people are able to lift a whole human being into the air, and then once they come crashing down, they don't book it.
And they like come back with so many bruises. Like I have a cheerleading friend, and she like after a game she'll show me all the bruises she gets from it, and I'm like, I couldn't even tell you were hurt. Like
right.
That reminds me of
so
our volleyball team.
Yeah.
They'll get like they show up
and like
there's some tough people on that team.
yeah, same thing
like,
with like I know color guard, like they literally get hit with their like flagpoles.
Yeah.
And then like my friend will be like, oh yes, I have so many.
and
bruises
they
from
they
this."
easily pull it off, and they just like they keep going.
Yeah. Like so many
I went to
teams.
the boot camp last year, and that was it because I didn't make the team that year. I couldn't get everything I needed for it. But just going to the boot camp for those few days, it was painful. It was hard, and every single day you want to quit. And I truly admire those girls for sticking with it, especially how long they have, because it truly is painful. And I think it would have been hilarious if I was video recorded, and we can upload it now, because I hit myself in the gut with the pole. I smacked my fingers with the pole, and they do this consistently until they are taught and they learn how to do it right.
Yeah.
But until that point, it is painful event after painful event.
And it just
and you
seems
have to
like
be
complicated.
coordinated. There is so much that goes into it, and it is truly remarkable.
It looks so complicated and like frustrating, and like you have to perfect everything. I went to my friend's house. She's on color guard, and she was trying to teach me and my other friend how to throw it up and catch it, and we threw it, and it just came crashing down. And we were like, wait, how do we catch it like you guys do? And she's like not moving. She goes whoop and catch.
Yeah, because you're just supposed to place your hands there.
And it's just like how do you trust the flag to go where it needs to go?
You have to retrain your natural reaction.
I know.
It's like, I don't run from this. This isn't dangerous.
I'm not supposed to move.
Yeah, it's like in every sport, like they spend so much time. Like every group spends so much time on like perfecting everything and getting things to the point where like they do well against others, or like just like improving themselves.
Yeah, and like our football team, coming back to that a little bit, is just, that's a brutal sport.
It really is.
There were so many injuries, and I truly wish them all the best. I hope that everyone recovers fast, and I hope it wasn't as painful as it looks, because some of the things that happen in that sport, that's like cliff diving. You have to have that courage to say, yeah, this could go wrong, this could hurt. Let's do it anyway, and let's put all that we can into it. And that is some bravery on behalf of our football players.
Yeah, I have some like deep respect for the sports that have like a lot of contact.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for the people that play those sports.
Contact sports are really scary because, like, especially if you're super passionate about it, because if you mess up and you, like, get injured somehow and that just, like, ends your whole sport career, it's really scary. It's terrifying. And they still go out there, they still play, they still practice, and they still, like, endure that pain.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring.
Another sport we interviewed was volleyball. So we interviewed the varsity coach, who is Miss Abel, and she said, I think the season went great. It was really cool to have 5 teams for our volleyball program. We had 94 girls try out, which is one of the most I've heard of, which is awesome. So I feel like our varsity, who is still alive, they're doing great things and working really hard. And for our other 4 teams, I think we had a lot of fun. They challenged themselves and really competed against all the other teams that we played this year. I agree with that. We played super hard this year, and we did super well. All of our teams, like one of our coaches said that I haven't mentioned yet, said that we all had like winning records. Like all the teams had winning records, and that was really cool.
The volleyball girls played so well.
Yeah, and this is for a school that's been open. This is its 2nd year open.
I know, it's truly amazing how well this team is together. Like, it looks like they've been a team for a while. It's truly amazing to see, like, go out there and be like, this is a new school?
For real?
What?
Yeah, and so many different areas. I think there was band, volleyball. It was either track or cross country.
I believe
we
it was
had
cross
a few
country.
girls. Soccer, we had a few girls, and even going to our businesses and marketing. I'm not sure if that's this year, or I'm pretty sure it was last year. We also went to state with that. We are getting our name out there, and that's pretty amazing.
It's really cool to see, like, how fast Ridgeline is growing and seeing, like, our name move up on that board that's, like, all the lead sports, and seeing us get up there. It's amazing.
Yeah. Let's keep it up,
really
guys.
is.
Right? Let's go.
Yeah, I actually do have a quote from Abel that says that she thinks that the teams did really awesome, and they did have a winning record, which is pretty cool for our 2nd year thing, and that is a quote that she did give me, so I missed that for a second. But, yeah. We also interviewed the freshman volleyball coach, Kara, and she said we finished the season with only 2 losses, although we lost them in the league. We beat them during the tournament, so that was really cool for them.
Yeah. That's
redemption.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Be like, I'm back.
Yeah. And for who would you recognize? What group would you recognize? She said she would recognize her captains Kirsten and Aiden Bjorklund. Kirsten M. and Aiden Bjorklund. Those 2 did a great job as freshmen being leaders, and usually that type of leadership isn't seen on the freshman level coming in, so it was really great to see that. And I think that's super cool that those freshmen came in and just made the coach want to shout them out like that. Because, like, that's totally true. Like, there's not that much leadership on that level.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how, like, these freshmen are doing as, like, leaders at a new school, too. And just starting out at high school, that's got to be really, really scary.
Yeah.
And, like, intimidating.
Yeah, but I'm super proud of the girls this year because they did super great, and it was tough, but they did great.
Okay. Well, I think since we did get through all of those quotes, it looks like, and we asked a lot of our questions, and we're meeting our time deadline. There's always more we can add on. Is there anything that we might have missed, really?
Let's go over the new sports that are starting.
Yes.
Yes, we can go over that briefly.
Cheerleading is starting, coached by Abby Lentz. It's their winter season. Boys basketball coached by Coach Rico. And then girls basketball is coached by Mr. Woods. Gymnastics, Miss Grasafi, and wrestling is Coach Gretch. Remind codes, Google Classrooms, and emails are on the Ridgeline website if you're interested in joining any of the sports.
And
Yes.
a lot of these probably can be found somewhere on our Instagram referenced. Normally in the bios. You can't look at just the picture. Look in the bios and you will find a lot more information.
Yes. Also, we have indoor percussion starting, or RIP. The first meeting is to see if you want to join is on Monday the 14th at 7 p.m. And indoor color guard NB should be starting shortly, but I don't know for sure when, but it will probably be posted somewhere on the Instagram.
Do we have to already be good in order to do either of those?
I don't know how it's going to work this year because pretty sure are supposed to be competing this year, but you can come to the meetings and ask questions if you would like to see.
Perfect.
Fun.
Alrighty.
Let's go hit myself with some more poles and flags.
Well,
Yep.
thank you for listening.
Yeah, that should wrap it up if you've got everything. Thank you for listening to our Birds of Prey podcast, and don't forget to keep an eye out for any new videos. We'll try to have them announced on the school announcements in the morning if you will tune into those, and on the Instagram as well.
Good luck to our new sports. Go
Yes.
Ridgeline!
We'll see you next time.